unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
I don't really trust people who don't swear. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody does, quite frankly. I think that's why a lot of times people get really happy when somebody says a swear word from a podium or from the stage. Because they're like, yes, finally, we can trust you. You know, that's extreme, I know. And it's not like I trust everybody else anyway. It's just one of the many factors. But when people don't swear at all, or when they're offended by swear words, it's like, what's that about? You know? What kind of game are you pulling here? Who are you trying to trick? What's your trick? What's this appearances? We know you think swear words, you know? Or we know you think dramatic thoughts. Fudge! I'll go for the dramatic one, as long as the impulse is there. Like, frick! I know they're thinking fuck. They're thinking all the emotions of fuck. Fudge! All that's there, so they've used the word. And for them, I just feel like when people do that, these are Mormon swear words, by the way. Oh, frickin', fudge, fetchin'. But they're all F's. They all have the same amount of... They're basically the Mormon F word. Or the religious F word. You know, what was that guy on Homer Simpson, Ned Flanders? Fiddly diddly. You know, swear words, they have the same meaning. So if you're going to say fetch or frick or fudge, I don't know how much of the benefits you're getting from the swear word. And by the way, there is a study that you can Google. I should Google these things. Jamie, look this up. There was a study that swear words are actually therapeutic, and they actually do have a psychological effect. They measured the brain waves and blah, blah, blah. And this makes complete sense, and it's obvious. We don't need scientists to tell us these things, because we all know that just the fact that we say shit when we smack our thumb with a hammer, that there's some benefit to that. They're saying that it actually is part of the body sending endorphins or whatever, a shutdown. It's an automatic response to pain or to something dramatic, you know? So you're really just behaving naturally when you swear. It's an automatic thing that's built in. But it gets weird, right, when the words are changed a little bit. So you put fetch in there, friggin'. And so it doesn't offend anybody around you. It's a surrogate swear word. Does the surrogate swear word have the same effect? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. It doesn't seem like it would, though, because if you take that kind of experiment, that fuck, saying the word you're not supposed to say, creates more of an alarm for yourself and for others. You know, oh, what? What do you say that for? This must be serious. You know? It seems like there's a lot of components that would go into that, right? If you just say a happy word, they don't know. But I guess, you know, in fairness, you should be able to get that from the tonality too, because if you just, well, what the fuck are you doing? You know, you're not sending any message about an alarm. You're not sending an alarm in that case too. So, but let me get back to the point. I'm meandering off the point. Damn it. The point is that it's hard to trust people who don't swear. And I think it's because we all know, every one of us, even the non-swearers out there, we all know that there are reasons to swear. You know? Good reasons. Really good reasons. So maybe the distrust that comes from people who don't swear is that they're eschewing part of nature. It's like do you trust somebody who cuts off their thumbs? Thumbs are very helpful. If somebody just, says, you know what? I don't want thumbs. I'm opposed to opposable thumbs. I didn't intend that. That was lucky, by the way. And so they cut off their thumbs. If you met somebody with no thumbs, and by the way, I know a guy with no thumbs. He's a nice fella, Sean Zebarth. He used to be a DJ on X96, and then he was a DJ on the KCRW in L.A. Really nice guy. He was born without thumbs. He was just born without them. Maybe some people are born without the impulse to swear, but he was born without thumbs, and it's really, he makes a lot of jokes about it, but one of the interesting things is you realize how important thumbs are in a handshake, because if you go in for an aggressive handshake with Sean Zebarth, your hand will slide all the way up to his armpit, because there's no hook to stop it. Like, hey, how you doing, buddy? Whoop! Ooh, little armpit juice right on your finger. Thumbs are helpful for handshakes. He's been able to manage to get along in his whole life without having thumbs. He's adapted. He curls his little fingers around and uses it slightly more like a tentacle or something like that. He probably can't do a lot of the things that people do well with thumbs. I've never watched him go bowling, but I'm sure he could do that too. Thumbs are helpful. And if you have them and you cut them off, maybe view you with a little bit of skepticism, because they really are helpful. If you're born without them, fine. If you're born without the impulse to swear, fine. You should still, like with Sean, he's made all these efforts to get along without thumbs, and he's adapted. If you're born without the impulse to swear, what are your adaptations? Is it fetch and flip and gosh darn it? When you say gosh darn it, you're saying god damn it. That's the impulse behind it. You're even using the same letters. You're not fooling anybody. And by the way, I actually like sit-in swear words, because there's this other thing that has happened, because idiots like me have watered down swear words so much. We got in the habit of, for whatever reason, swearing all the time, that we've kind of watered down. We've made the swear words less potent, so they don't fit. Now, I mean, to me, when I hear fetch as opposed to fuck now, I kind of prefer fetch, not because it does the job of the swear word, but because it's funny. It's just funnier than fuck. It really is. Because of the fact that it's a stand-in. It's got that Ned Flanders appeal. It's got humor. Ah, fetch! But it doesn't really do the job of the swear word, It still doesn't. And I wonder sometimes, because when I go back to Utah, I'm hanging out, I actually really enjoy swearing around little old ladies, using coarse language, as my friend Ken told me this morning. He's my old roommate. A roommate that I had twice, by the way. He's the only roommate I had twice. Well, is that true? No, Greg Newbold, also roommate I had twice. Same location, by the way. Mission buddy that ended up being a roommate later. That's being a roommate twice. One not by choice, the other one by choice. But he's a mission buddy of mine, and he stayed an active Mormon. He's probably listening. Hello, Ken. But he mentioned, I thought it was fun, he said, yeah, and you use coarse language, and I think that's a fun way to put it. Coarse. Yeah, swear words are coarse. And I wondered, I can trace back, and why did I start using more and more swear words? Why do I use them too much? I'm probably a guy that uses them too much. I notice that when I go back to Utah, and I'm in the rehab center with my mom and trying to play a game of Rummy Cube, which is, by the way, funny here. It's rummy. It's rummy, but Mormons can't play cards. They're not supposed to use cards, so they develop a Scrabble-looking version of it. Yeah, that kind of stuff is funny. So that's a stand-in swear word too, even that game. But I realize it's kind of hard, when you're used to dropping swear words all the time. When you're in a situation where you can't, it's like, oh shit. See, even there, like I can't say it. You become almost crippled. And of course, that's my own fault. But the reason why is because when you first get out of a culture that won't allow for the swear words, which is a pretty extreme thing, No, you can't do it. Well, it's a natural function. You can't use your thumbs. We're going to cripple you in some way. Yeah, but swear words are beneficial. Stop! No, not allowed. Of course, that makes the swear words even more alluring, right? The forbidden. What's more alluring than the forbidden? Tell a teenager they can't do something. What's the first thing they do? Right? Tell them they can't swear. So yeah, I swore back even in high school when I wasn't supposed to, when I was a good Mormon. It's probably why I made friends with non-Mormons. But the impact of the swear is less around people who don't care. Like, nobody gives you even a sideways glance in California or urban circles if you're dropping F-bombs all the time. Fucking this, fucking then I did the fucking thing. And it's like, fucking. It's like, it's just, it becomes a sound effect that just goes between things. It becomes like, and then I like, fucking, then I fucking, It's really harmless. Obviously, these people, whoever's doing that, they're not doing anything intentionally to upset anybody. But when I started doing it, yeah, I was, for sure, when you first start incorporating swear words in, I was signaling, It was an early form of my virtue signaling, and the virtue being is, I don't care about swear words. I'm a human being. I'm part of the human race. I'll do things. I'll use language. I'm a normal guy. I think Donald Trump is a little bit like that too, right? But I was it's a filtering device. It can be used as a filtering device. You can quickly find out who's offended, who clutches their pearls. That's what's fun about doing it with little old ladies. And the interesting thing is, if you're doing it live, most of them kind of like it. They giggle, because they like the danger. He just said a bad word, and we're all fine. Nobody died. A lot of fun. But it is one of those things, and so to get back to the premise here is not trusting people who won't swear, which is bombastic. It's a bombastic thing to say, for sure. How dare you? How can you not trust this wonderful person who doesn't swear? I don't trust anybody really, but if you can't let a swear word or two fly, my guess is that you're taking something too seriously. Some rule that you've made for yourself. Maybe you take yourself too seriously. Maybe you're trying to present yourself as being holier than thou. I don't know, but I think the red flags kind of go up. Maybe not big red flags, but little tiny ones. Little tiny red flags start going up, like, uh-oh. I had a friend who told me after the first time I took a drink, and I've told this story on this podcast, but first time I ever took a drink was with my friend Tom Dumont. He would always pour me a drink, and then I would refuse it, and he would just have 2 drinks. But one day I just took it because I didn't want to tell my story about drinking one more time, and so then I drank. Well, then another guy, Tony, he said, name's Tony Canal, and he said, I never trusted you until you drank. And I thought, well, yeah, that's ridiculous. What are you talking about? How can you not trust somebody because they don't drink? You're insane. And this is after I drank. So But then I thought about it I thought about it over the course of a year, and I realized I get it. I see what you're saying. You're right. You're right. When I, in an extreme way, separate myself from society with no real reason, because for most, drinking, not for everybody, but for most, it's a social lubricant. And once a person does drink, they realize, oh, that lubricant loosens up the lips too. So you're more likely, after a few drinks, not after 10, there's a stage that a few drinks, it loosens you up and you become what I would say it's a kind of an honest version of you, because your inhibitions are low, and so you're going to say things that you might not say when you're sober. You might tell truths that you wouldn't tell. I never liked you. Something you wouldn't say before a couple drinks, Or, oh my gosh, I love you. You're the best. I love you, man. You wouldn't say that. So, whatever the real you is, with a couple of drinks in you, it loosens it up, and a clearer picture of a person emerges, or at least another facet. Things you've been holding back tend to come out, And for somebody to intentionally, for whatever reason, to say, no, I'm not going to be part of that. I'm going to let you guys get drunk and reveal yourselves and loosen up and show a more vulnerable side and act silly. I'm going to let you guys dance like idiots on the dance floor, but I'm not going to, And again, we're not talking about extremes here. We're talking about moderate drinking, 1 or 2 drinks that get you loosened up. If you won't even do that, not a sip. And that's how I was before, up until I was 33. Well, I see swearing is kind of a little bit like that. It's when a person is honest enough to let their frustrations fly, like that fucking thing, I hate that fucking guy. That little extra, I don't prefer that man. I don't know, there's something a little shady. Good fella. It's just like, come on, man, what do you really think? What are you hiding? Are you trying to pass yourself off as not being a human being like me? You trying to pretend you don't have thumbs? You got those thumbs. I can see them there. Look, Fonzie, yay! Not a bad thing to have a thumb. It's a functional part of life. Swearing is a functional part of life. Words, vocabulary, the whole vocabulary. But this introduces like a kind of a complicated thing now, doesn't it? Swear words are only useful if they're reserved a little bit, right? Or maybe not. The F word has a certain magic. You can use it kind of like the word dude. You've seen those routines where people go, dude, dude, dude. Dude is a perfect example of how you can just use the same word with different tone, and it has 1,000 different meanings. Well, the F word seems to have a bit of that as well. Fucking A! Fuck yeah! Holy fuck. You can use it in a lot of different ways, and it never loses its power from when you're just saying, fuck you! Because the intent is there. It retains, for some reason, its effect. You can't say, fetch you, fetch off, flip off, It doesn't really work. It does retain a certain sort of value. At least it has. Maybe it's lost it with younger generations. Maybe I'm just speaking like an old man. I don't know. But there does seem to have this swear words. So here's the other thing, though. When you forbid a word, you give it more power. Is that good or is it bad? Well, on the one hand, you could say it's good because then it retains its power and it's useful in signaling something that definitely needs to be heard. It becomes an alarm, you know. Fuck! I just lost my leg! My leg fell off! Ah, fuck! You know? Whoa, he said that word. Everybody's looking. But if you hear that word all the time, nobody's looking because they're like, fuck, I dropped my sandwich. You know, dramatically different than losing your leg, dropping your sandwich. You know, what if you retained that word for only losing your leg? More likely to get attention for it, right? I don't know. But then you've got vocal inflections and everything else. It's a kind of a tricky subject, really, because it is easy to take the other attitude, like, it's really not necessary. Everything can be conveyed without words entirely. And I actually put forth this thesis a lot. I think the language is maybe one of the crudest and least impressive elements of language and communication, because I think you can sit in a room with somebody and not say a word and communicate a lot and get a lot of things done, you know. I have this whole idea for a Mark Burnett. I don't want to do it. I don't want to become a television producer. But a guy like Mark Burnett, who already produces a lot of reality TV shows, I would like him to do a show called Silent Island. You know, you basically take the premise of Survivor and you just put everybody on the island. The only difference is they cannot use any language. They cannot use words. They can't use words. You know, I think it would work pretty well. I think really interesting, maybe even better relationships would develop when people couldn't use words, because then you're reducing things down to the most honest elements of life, which is just your body language, your facial expressions, your eye contact or lack thereof, you know. Imagine not being able to use any words, not even swear words. You know what's funny is I have a feeling that swear words would probably be the first words used in that scenario. You're out on Silent Island. Nobody's using any words. 2 weeks goes by, no words. Maybe people talk in their sleep. I don't know. Maybe that's the only time you hear them. But then somebody drops a coconut on their foot and you hear, fuck! You know, that would be interesting. It would go towards my thesis, wouldn't it? What thesis? Exactly. I don't really have a thesis. I'm rambling about swear words, and I think you're with me because I think you know what the fuck I'm talking about. You know, I think all of you do. Even the ones who don't swear, but only swear privately in your mind, or swear occasionally only when you get around your friends that like to swear. You know? That, it kind of brings me into these words. This is where we breach a topic of where, you know, there are very few swear words left. A lot of people would make the argument, and I would too, that people like me who have overused the F word, I mean, nobody cares about damn it and shit and hell anymore. Who cares about those words? My mom uses those words, you know. I think she used it in the hospital. She's as straight up Mormon as you can. Damn it! She got frustrated and then laughed. But those words have almost no power. F word still retains a little bit of power. But there are a couple words, the N word and the C word, that are still... The N word, the C word, and the new F word that we used to all use to describe... we wouldn't use them to describe gay people. We'd use them to describe behaviors we thought didn't fit into society. It was one of those unfortunate things that was... even if you didn't have any problem with gay people, you'd use that F word. So that's a new swear word that's become powerful. Now, but there's a problem in creating and making those words the only swear words that remain. You know, by forbidding them, you're giving them power, you know, and the more you forbid them, the more power you give them. And when you diminish the power of the F word and damn shit and hell and bitch, you diminish those, then the only words that retain those power end up being the ones that really sound the alarm. You use the N word in a crowded room now, and boy, everybody's going to look. It will definitely, but they're going to be confused. It's not going to be, with the F word, it has such a broad meaning that it sends up the thing of what's happened, what's the emergency. But when it's the N word or the C word or the other F word, people think that you're targeting someone. So it has a really strange effect, but yet you're retaining all the power of the word. You're creating the power of the word by forbidding it. And it's going to fly, and people will use it. Man, it just creates this really strange bottleneck because it becomes powerful regardless of its context and meaning and former usage. The fact that it's forbidden gives it power, and therefore therapeutic uses of it. I'm going to get in trouble for even suggesting such heresy, but it really does. There is a psychological component to having a powerful word to express rage or anger, regardless of former context, So if somebody uses that word now in a dramatic situation, or when they yell it in traffic at a person at anybody, regardless of race, they're using it probably for that therapeutic or shock value. Where am I going with this? This is one of those times when you need a team of smart people. And I'm not one of those people, that's for sure. I'm just a regular old dum-dum. But I bet you've thought about stuff like this before. Swear words, the forbidden word, what you can't say, and the therapeutic value or the useful value of using words you're not supposed to use for whatever reason. It's definitely a search yourself, right? When you go into a situation, you say something. It's even for humor. For humor, of course, swear words are great for humor. But what is humor? Humor is only the appearance of danger without the effects of the danger. Throw a baby up into the air, horror on their face. When you catch them, a laugh. In other words, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Everything's fine. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Everything's fine. Danger approaches. Nothing happens. That's what a swear word often does. That's why you can get giggles out of an old lady with a swear word. Because the immediate impulse is, you're not supposed to say that. Wait. Everything's fine. My leg didn't fall off. Still got my thumbs. Release. Laughter. The danger has passed. And everybody's fine. Everybody's intact. So yeah, it is hard to trust people who don't swear. It's just because to those of us who do, and probably even, this is what I've found, is that most of the changes I've made in my life, like getting back to drinking, I feel like I joined humanity when I took that drink. I tore down a wall between myself and all these other idiots, these plebeians, I became one of them, and I think it was beneficial. I don't drink now because I don't go out. I don't have any interest. Basically, I'm not being led around by my genitals anymore. I'm not trying to get out there and breed. But, yeah, I feel like I joined humanity there. And I feel like when people, there's a good argument. Tony had a good argument when he said, I don't trust people who won't take a drink. It's a great argument. I feel kind of the same way. If you're in a group a room full of people, and the atmosphere is, oh, we're having a nice dinner, and here's a glass of wine with dinner. And of course, the cultural reasons why wine's been served with dinner for centuries is because I think the idea is that at a dinner table, people, you want to have conversation as well. When you're sharing a meal with somebody, you're not just all sitting there in silence, refueling. You can refuel on your own. The idea of setting a nice table, and putting a glass of wine on the table is to say, let's all get on this boat together. Let's all loosen up and share some stories and experiences with one another. Let's be honest with one another, And when somebody goes, I don't want that glass of wine, I'm not going to get on that boat with you guys. I'm going to stay over here. You can get on the boat, but I'm going to. And that's an interesting thing, too. I remember back when I didn't drink, when I was a good Mormon, and my friends would drink, and I wouldn't, and they wouldn't try to convince me hard enough. It's as if I watched their boat sail away without me. And I'm the one was left on shore feeling lonely, like I've been abandoned. When I was invited onto the boat, I could have been on that boat. I would accuse them of abandoning me, but really I abandoned them because I had this rule that I wouldn't have that glass of wine. I wouldn't join them on that little boat of honesty. And you remember, I'm talking about moderate drinking. There's a big difference between a couple of drinks and keg stands. But there can be arguments made for keg stands too. Bonding with your friends, do a keg stand, get drunk, have a blackout once, so you know what that's like, So you have the drinking stories, the war stories. If you don't have a war story, how are you going to fit in with other people that have been to war? What are you hiding from? That's the way I feel like when I see people that don't swear or won't have that one drink or will never try pot, they'll never try mushrooms. These extremists that won't do simple things. It's hard to trust them because we can see that they're going by an extreme code of conduct. And that sends up pricks our ears. And we think, what's going on here? Why? What's their secret code? What organization are they part of? What don't I know? What aren't they revealing to me? Why aren't they just being part of humanity? I think the Mormons used to say, I think I learned this quote, being in the world but not of the world. And that sounded really good to me when I was a kid, but now I'm thinking, being in the world is almost like being a secret agent? A spy? Is it any wonder where people won't trust you? Is that person a spy? They're not swearing. They're not drinking. Huh. Even when you look in the movies, and of course we don't know if this is true or not. I don't know. I doubt it is, but the whole idea, a cop has to tell you if you ask him. I don't think this is true, by the way. I think a cop is absolutely allowed to lie, especially an undercover cop. But then they add a different layer. Well, ask him to take the drugs. If he's an undercover cop, he won't snort a line of coke. And by the way, I've never done cocaine. So, I have that rule too. Would I extend that? No, I wouldn't, because I've seen the effects of cocaine. Cocaine turns people into monsters. I can't even imagine myself on cocaine. I mean, look at how much I've recorded in these podcasts. I'm up to 62, and this is without drugs or anything. I'm obviously already on cocaine in my own brain. My chemical makeup already causes me to talk too much about me and my feelings and my opinions. You add cocaine to me? Oh my gosh, I don't think I would be so unbearable. Because let me tell you, that's what cocaine does. You take a person that's not chatty, suddenly they're on cocaine and they're the king of the world. They know everything. They've got it figured out. They're famous. I'm famous. We're the best. I'm the best. This crazy confidence that happens. Like, I don't need that. I would not subject the world to Merkley on cocaine. And who knows how much I would swear on cocaine. I would ruin every swear word. I'd wear it right out to the point that I had no use whatsoever. So yeah, swearing. How about this? How about we all just agree to be real? Okay? Can we agree to just... I think things don't get dramatic if you're just real. If you're honest. I don't need to swear so much because I don't need to go around and represent myself as being, a rebel. I probably do it too much. Somebody else might do it not enough. There's a natural ebb and flow, I think, that goes with things. And I think if you're, okay, maybe I'll do it today. Oh, here's where I'll swear, and here's where I won't, Be reasonable. If you're feeling the F word come out, let it out. Not a big deal. You'll recover. People aren't going to judge you as harsh as you think anyway. Whatever judgment, whatever perception you think you're accomplishing with your not swearing, whatever status you think it gives you, not really. When was the last time you ever heard somebody say, I really like Joe because he's never said a swear word, and that's a quality I like in a person? No, nobody cares. Nobody's impressed by that. And if you heard somebody say that, you'd roll your eyes. You would. I know you would. What you do hear, though, is you do hear people saying, I really like Joe. He's an honest man. That Joe, he's honest. What you see is what you get with Joe. He's a man of his word. He's a man of his swear words. A man that's honest. Swearing, that's his funny thing too. I swear. Meaning, I promise. It's kind of weird that word gets used both ways. Maybe that's not an accident. I swear. A swear word. I swear. What does that mean? An honest word. It should be honest. I think that's probably the etymology of that. I'm not going to look it up right now, but a swear word and swearing are related. I swear on the Bible. It's dramatic. I swear. I promise I'm telling the truth. A swear word means that's a truthful reaction. It's dramatic, I swear I will never swear again. Yikes. I don't have time to unpack that. Maybe we'll just leave it right there. Maybe we'll leave that for you to ponder. I'll ponder it too. I swear. I swear I will ponder swearing. Thanks for listening.